Code Vein is a game that you've played, then these two might feel quite similar to the Cannoneer and Blade Bearer battle. So keep in mind that Rinda is weak to ranged attacks, while Rodin is weak to melee attacks. Direct your wrath appropriately. Rodin will focus one teammate with plasma gunshots and leave Tox mines all over the place, while Rinda will wave dash to another teammate and try to cut them down with a flurry of sword swipes. If Rodin is targeting you, try to sprint 90 degrees around him in a spiral until you're within melee range, then try to pull him to another teammate to redistribute the aggro. Being hit by the Tox mines he throws will erase your toughness and deal a bunch of corruption damage. You can trigger these by running along the edges of the AoE circles. They do have about a 1 second delay, so it's plenty of time. I've also seen Chastise the Wicked being used to clear the mines too, but I prefer to bring the Reliquary for staggering the twins and the mobs. The trick to surviving Rinda's attacks is to look at her while holding your block. When she dashes towards you, hold your block until you successfully blocked the dash attack, and then do one back dodge. She has one lightning dash attack with a wide angle but short range, so simply dodge backwards again when you see it wind up. For the light slashes, you can simply crouch slide away after your back dodge. You should get used to using crouch sliding as your main method of travel here, because you will need your stamina for sprinting in emergencies as well as blocking. Try to save your dodges for the lightning slashes. Being hit by them will evaporate your toughness and possibly push you into the Tox mines or Rager hordes. The duel themselves requires your team to pop both of their shields before either one finishes recharging. When their shields collapse, your team will have a few precious seconds to damage their health permanently. You should always focus on popping Rodin's shield first to stop the Tox mines, followed by Rinda's. If any of their health goes below certain thresholds, they will both vanish and begin filling the room with gas. This is where you must look around for an active vent via the skylight and hold out against a lot of heretics. Don't get too comfortable, however, as the active vent will actually change after some time to the one opposite side of the arena to you. I personally prefer bringing Zealot's flame grenades for these hordes here, and to use the Reliquary to help your team push through the gas to the other vent. This musical vent phase happens a total of 3 times the entire fight. First, when any of their HP is around 75%, second is around the 50% mark, and the last is near the 25% area. The number of times in which the active vents will cycle between each other also changes. First, we'll have 2 vent cycles, the second will have 3 vent cycles, and the third will have 4 vent cycles. After the third cycle, there will be no more musical vents to deal with for the remainder of the fight. I highly recommend you guys to focus on Rodin first, as his Tox mines can be extremely deadly, especially if a mutant throws you into a pile of them. Ideally, you have a dedicated runner like a Zealot or maybe a Psyker to go around triggering the mines ahead of time. As you may well be aware, the main worry isn't so much the bosses themselves, rather it's the specialists and the packs of elites spawning out of the many doors. I highly recommend having a weapon like a revolver or the latest heavy las pistol to make quick work of the heavier maulers, ragers, and crushers. You don't want to bring anything with a long draw time, as you will be switching to melee very often. On Damnation Hardmode, the Twins' shields recharge is a lot faster and a lot more specialist squads will spawn. It's a pretty rough fight, honestly, but here are a few things that I noticed from my experience running it. The Twins will be more aggressive with their attacks, and specifically Rodin will toss a lot more gas mines for you to deal with. The gas damage has also increased substantially. Being hit by Tox mines can very easily take you to 1 HP with full corruption, and crossing between vents without toughness here will almost certainly result in death. This is where having extra toughness from the Zealot's Relic or a Veteran's Shout will be essential. If not though, a Psyker's Bubble Shield is also capable of keeping the gas away. So the ideal is to focus down the elites and specialists first, then focus down Rodin immediately. Having him in recharge mode means he isn't throwing Tox Mines everywhere, and meaning that killing elites will be a lot easier, as well as kiting Rinda around the arena. As said earlier, most of this fight is around the Tox Mines and elites, so killing Rodin first will eliminate the Tox Mines completely. Once you melee down Rodin's shield, just pull out your gun and begin firing at Rinda wherever she is. She takes a lot more damage from range attacks, so it should pop from focus fire from your team in no time. It isn't easy, but try to keep the fight near the center as much as possible so that when the musical vents begin, you can quickly move to the safe spot without much exposure to the tox gas. As all this is happening, hopefully you have a dedicated member for triggering the Tox Mines here, because they will drastically reduce the room that you have to move around, especially during the musical events sections. Weapons that give fast movement is highly recommended because you will be pressured by hordes almost all the time, and you will be expected to fight alone every once in a while. A bleed knife build for the Zealot will be invaluable here, as bleed and burn can continue to DPS the twins even when their shields return as well. It's also a really good universal damage type against maulers and crushers. In my experience, bolters and flamers are way too slow to reload and to draw, making them not quite as effective in a pinch. I prefer revolvers and las pistols, particularly because their punch through is able to hit priority targets without being blocked by poxwalkers. Plasma guns do not have a need to reload much, only the occasional cooling. A headshot with a regular plasma shot will knock either twins on their asses when their shields are down. You will be given one med pack at the start, as well as one healing stim for each teammate. I recommend saving these healing stims for the squishier teammates in the party. Flame grenades should be safe for the musical vent phases if the situation gets out of control, or if suddenly you have a pack of elites spawn out of nowhere. Any perk or gear that will help to dispel corruption should be taken. Whether it's Zealot's Piety Aura or Veteran's Field Improv perk, both will be instrumental in helping your team survive. This also includes curios that give corruption resistance as well. A 45% corruption resistance can really slow the buildup that you get occasionally from dipping into the tox gas every now and then, and it can save you entire wounds. Any blessing that will proc brittleness on the twins, or just increase the damage that they take overall, should always be taken. For me, I suggest prioritizing the fight as shown. Trappers should always be top, followed by mutants and bursters, as both can knock you into the hordes or tox mines. Bombers and flamers after, because they can reduce the amount of real estate you have to move about, especially with the tox mines everywhere too. Crushers and maulers can one-shot people, making them very dangerous, but because they're quite slow, you can save them for after when you kill the disablers and the flame enemies. The hard mode version of the fight can be unlocked by ringing hidden bells throughout the mission. They must all be hit by the same person the correct number of times, each in the order of appearance. The number of times each must be hit is shown by this number written on the wall in the gas trap room. 7 digits means there are 7 bells to hit, each corresponding to their number. Their locations are highly secretive, so I can only show it to you once.
The strike team is already committed.
Then may the Emperor protect you. And will you have faith in their corpses? You heard her. Walter knows. This is a trap.
It is an opportunity.
Put a forth willfully. Brenda will not tolerate it.
Grendel gave me a free hand.
My entrance is... No. What? Very well. Extricated Xerath, I relieve you of your responsibilities to this mission.
Come this far. Surely you're not gonna turn back now. We're waiting in sub-level 4.
Get back to that barrel!
All in all, it's a very fun fight and very fast-paced, especially on higher difficulties. You will also be rewarded an extra special looking badge for clearing it on Damnation Hardmode 2, so it's definitely worth doing. Thank you once again for watching my video. I only recently got into making these videos, but I do quite enjoy making them considering how much I play this game. Big thanks to my buddy Frog the Professional Ogre for helping me with the tips and running the missions for the recordings. The tips given in this video are just a guideline, but the rest is up to your team's communication and experience with the fight. You will wipe many times during your hard mode attempts, but keep trying and don't give up.